Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be starting off the writing language section by doing precision and concision. This is our first topic in writing and language, and we're going to be going through these 5 questions. We're going to explain each of them and find the intricacies of this section so that you're prepared to do precision and concision, you're master this topic, and you're ready to go ace the SAT writing section. If you like these videos or find them informative, please be sure to like and subscribe. And with that, let's get on to our first question. Here we're given the sentence: the predecessor which came before the ice cream sandwich was a wedge of vanilla ice cream cut from a larger piece known as an okey pokey. Well, let's see what we can do here. So we have the predecessor which came before. Doesn't the word predecessor already mean the one that came before? So by adding the words which came before, that seems extremely redundant. We're saying the same thing twice, so that's why this answer is going to be wrong. So we have the next one is the first type of dessert which later became the ice cream sandwich. Well, that's not what the question is saying. That's not what the sentence is saying at all. The sentence is saying the predecessor of the ice cream sandwich. What came before the ice cream sandwich, not what became the ice cream sandwich. That's not what they're asking for. They're asking for what became the ice cream sandwich. So this one is also incorrect. And then the third one, we have the predecessor to the ice cream sandwich. That seems correct. The predecessor to the ice cream sandwich, what came before the ice cream sandwich, it's extremely concise. It only says what it means to once. It doesn't repeat anything. So this looks like it can be our answer. And then we look at our last answer choice just as a check. We see earlier predecessor to. Well, earlier and predecessor mean the same thing, right? We're repeating the words, we're repeating the message here. So this is going to be not concise, it's not precise, so our answer choice is going to be C. And we can move on to the next question. All right, our next question. Did you know that people race such odd machines as lawnmowers, pogo sticks, and Zambonis? Well, leaving no change or odd machines in there, well, that seems to work, right? We just have the word odd machines, right? We're not repeating anything. Let's look at our other answer choices. Here we have strange and unusual machines, but strange and unusual mean the same thing. So it seems like this is going to be out. Unusual machines and contraptions. We don't need to say machines and contraptions. They mean the same thing, right? It's a repetition of the message. Too long. Then we have odd and unusual machines and contraptions. That's a double whammy, right? It goes out on 2 counts. Both of the objects that it talks about, both odd and machines, it repeats both of them. And we can see that this is going to be wrong, so our no change, our shortest answer, odd machines, is going to be correct. Now, a word about the SAT and about the precision and concision section in general, which is that on these kinds of questions, when you have a word like odd machines, and when your answer choices are really just rephrase or ways that phrase is going to be rephrased, the answer is usually going to be the shortest answer choice. Why? Well, it's going to be the shortest answer choice because that's the one that has the least amount of extraneous information that we don't need. That's too much. That's repetitive, right? And this isn't always true, but as a general rule, on the SAT, you should always look for the shortest answer that still works. Like, you don't want to pick an answer that's too short that it doesn't work, it doesn't give the right message. But if you're struggling between 2 answers and both of them seem to work, you pick the shorter one because the SAT is looking for that concision, right? It doesn't want you to talk too much. It's looking for that brevity, right? So that's why answer choice A is correct. Odd machines is the shortest one. Look for the shortest answer that works. Make sure it works, but if you're stuck between 2 answer choices that work, it's usually going to be the shorter one. Let's move on to the next question. All right, question 3. We're told that according to a Stanford University study, the energy that the internet consumes every single year is equivalent to the energy produced by 34 large coal-fueled power plants. Saying every single year, right? That doesn't seem repetitive or anything, right? That seems to work. But let's look at our other answer choices. Then we have, for B, we have yearly and annually. Well, yearly and annually mean the exact same thing. It both means that it happens once a year. That's too repetitive. Then C, we just have the word annually. That the internet consumes annually is equivalent to the energy produced by 34 large coal-fueled power plants. That seems to work really well. It's very concise. It's very short, and it still fits in the sentence. It still flows. It still gives the right message. Then we can look at our fourth answer choice, on an annual basis. That just throws in a bunch of words. Why do you need all those words? Just say annually. You don't need to say on an annual basis. That's way too much. That's not concise. So now here we're between A and C, every single year, or just the word annually. Right, we said look for the shortest answer that still works. The shortest answer here is going to be C. Both every single year and annually mean the same thing. They both work in the sentence, but annually is more concise, and that's why it is our answer. Let's move on to the next question. All right. Paul asked Bernadette to the 1960s throwback music concert at Central Park, but she had already accepted an invitation because she had been invited by Simon. Let's think about that sentence for a second. Accepted an invitation because she had been invited by. That seems a bit repetitive, right? Like if you're accepting an invitation, you're kind of assuming that that person must have invited you, right? You can't accept an invitation if they didn't invite you to something. That doesn't work, right? So let's take that one out. And then we look at answer choice B, which is our shortest one, by the way. And we see that, but she had already accepted an invitation from Simon. Well, that seems to work, right? It gets rid of the whole because she had been invited by, right? And it just flows smoothly. But she had already accepted an invitation from Simon. It gets the message through. It doesn't really add anything else that we can take away. What else can we see? We have answer choice C, been invited, having accepted an invitation from. Well, it said, but she had already been invited, having accepted an invitation from Simon. That seems a bit too wordy, right? We don't need to say been invited. We can just say she had already accepted an invitation from Simon. Right? We don't need to say that she had already been invited. We can just say that she already accepted an invitation, right? Now let's cross that one out. Let's look at our last answer choice, choice D. But she had already accepted an invitation previously from Simon. That one seems to work. It looks a lot like our answer choice B, but let's look at this word already and previously. Don't those mean the exact same thing, already and previously? But she had already accepted an invitation previously from Simon. The already and the previously are too much, right? It's repetitive. So that's why this one gets knocked out. And our shortest answer, once again, is going to be the correct answer. Now remember that shortest answer is not always going to be the correct answer. You look for the shortest answer that works. Here, the shortest answers have all worked, and that's why it's the shortest answer. Let's move on to our last question. All right, after working for 20 years on a vaccine for malaria, scientists are finally seeing successful clinical trials with effective immunization in about 46% of vaccinated participants that they study. Well, saying vaccinated participants that they study, if you're saying participants, aren't they already being studied? You don't. Do you really need to say that they study if they're already participating in something in a clinical trial that's being held? Right. We can see here it's a clinical trial. Do we need to say study as well if they're already participants? No, we don't. That seems repetitive. Let's get rid of answer choice A. Then we have choice B, vaccinated people who participate in the trial. It's the same thing. We already have participate in the trial. We already say clinical trials, right? We already say participants. We don't need to say all that extra. Here we just have vaccinated participants. That seems to work pretty well. We have it with effective immunization in about 46% of vaccinated participants. We're not giving extra information that's saying they're being studied. We already know they're being studied. We know they're vaccinated. We know the participants. That seems to work. It's concise. It's precise. That one seems to work. Let's look at our last answer choice anyway. We have vaccinated participants who received the vaccine. I'm not even going to try to justify that one. You say vaccinated, and then like 4 words later, you say who received the vaccine. Well, what are you trying to say? It's the same thing. You're saying the same thing twice. You're saying vaccinated, then who received the vaccine. You don't need to say that twice. We get the point. And that's why this is incorrect. And answer choice C is the correct answer. That is it for this topic on effective language use, precision, and concision. We saw and we realized that the shortest answer that works is usually the one correct because we're trying to get rid of as much extraneous information as we can. That is it for this topic, and I'll see you later.